And let's start off with the humble, the elegant watering can. In my opinion, every garden, no matter how large or small, you need a watering can because of the manual flexibility of it. I can come in, I've got some young seedlings in this bed here, and I can just quickly give them this little drink that maybe they're not gonna be getting from an irrigation system. So I personally really like it for that reason.
What's up, guys? Your boy Benny. Never forget the good times and all the friends we made along the way. There's a long road to get here. We broadcast for hundreds of thousands of hours, it feels like, nonstop. And we thank you. You're our friend. And now we get to live in a red kingdom of our own creation, where Donald Trump and the MAGA movement have unified trifecta control over all branches of government. And that's going to be really exciting and very, very fun for all of us. However, there are some people who are not having fun, like the deep state urchins and orcs who are shrieking like demons that they are about to be fired or worse, prosecuted, and thrown in prison. Like the DOJ, they're terrified, says Politico. Yeah, they should be. CNN is facing mass layoffs, of course, because that's what happens when you atomize your audience by lying to them. Why do you think our audience is exploding at a clip and MSNBC's is cratering by 50%? The reason why is people are sick of being lied to. And I know you're one of them. And so we thank you for being here. And if you came from MSNBC, you know what? Welcome. I hope you learned something. We say, welcome, friend. MSNBC has no more friends. Look at this. Their ratings have completely and totally cratered since election night. 39%, 55%, 39%. Ari Mebler's show, 50%. All in Chris Hayes, 47%. Alex Wagner, who the hell is that? 53%. Lawrence O'Donnell, 60%. Stephanie Rue, 67%. These are the craters in their shows. Now, apparently, they're being put up for sale on an auction block. Comcast is putting MSNBC up for sale, and CNN announces mass layoffs. MSNBC, however, they did an entire press release that MSNBC topped CNN on presidential election night for the first time in network history. Wow. MSNBC, so many people were watching. But what exactly were they watching? This is what they were watching, ladies and gentlemen. They were tuning in for the meltdowns. We would know this because we were live on election night. We watched MSNBC's election night coverage, so you don't have to. Spoiler alert, it didn't go well for them. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you may have missed if you were tuning into our live stream on election night. It is a glorious, for all time, hang it in the Smithsonian, put it up in Cooperstown, Jersey in the rafters moment of F around and find out. MSNBC lied to their viewers, and they had to choke back tears when the country rejected them. And this is that moment in all of its glory. Here we go.
All the anticipation, all the excitement, all the anxiety, all the doom scrolling, all the manic refreshing of polling averages, it has all been leading to this hour. And we know you have every choice in the world for where to spend tonight, so we're really grateful that you're spending it with us, and we hope you'll be with us through the duration.
How's everybody doing? First time voting?
Yes.
How you feeling?
Good.
You guys doing okay, too?
Yes, we're doing great. Kamalala.
I was going to ask who you're going to vote for, but I didn't need to.
Kamalala, because voice matters.
First time voting? As you know, this is where the Harris campaign wants to drive up the numbers to sort of counteract that T in the middle of Pennsylvania to counteract the rural votes that the Trump campaign is expected to get.
And so what you've seen in the last couple of weeks, if this is an audition for managing a complex organization like the United States, Kamala Harris has passed the audition flawlessly. This has been, in many ways, a perfect campaign. And what the campaign is talking about now is the granular get out the vote effort that you just don't see on the other side. On the other side, you're seeing Charlie Kirk going on X Twitter this morning and begging people to vote.
The last week has been a very good close for Kamala Harris, not a good close for Donald Trump. He hasn't been able to fill the rallies. He's addled. He has racist comedians opening. Whatever. It's been a trashy week for Donald Trump. It's been a very strong week for Kamala Harris.
ASU, the campus that we're on right now, ASU students, the population is about 74,000. So a lot of people voting here. When it comes to a lot of the young women that we've been talking to, reproductive rights is huge. It's a big driver. It's a lot of the conversation that we're hearing.
We've got about 10 now completed of those rural, heavily Trump counties. We're talking about places where he's going to get 70, 75, 80% of the vote. In all 10 that have now been completed, Trump's vote share relative to 2020 has gone up.
I'm just going to give a couple of everybody take a breath warnings here. We don't know what's going to happen in Georgia. It's like a baby blue state, I'm going to say, in that it has not been blue for a long time. It is a hard state for the Harris team.
One of the things that was so striking about the public polling and the public data going into this election was that the public polling said this is the closest race that we've ever had.
Yeah.
Basically. I mean, that was the consensus view. And there was a real question about, well, maybe the public polling's wrong, and maybe it's going to miss a few points in one direction or another. We don't know at this point. It's very early in the evening. But I would say at 8:50, it's a very, very close race.
Yeah, I'd say that if you are just joining us right this second at 8:52:06, and I had to summarize what's going on, no surprises.
Yeah, right.
Pretty much that's what's happened thus far. In Georgia, it's too close to call. In Pennsylvania, it's too close to call. In Wisconsin, it's too close to call. In Michigan, sing it with me now. It's too close to call.
Let's be blunt. I think when you watched what Donald Trump did in 2020, what Democrats were fantasizing about was a landslide victory. And so some of what was wanted and desired was a sweep that really wasn't on the table. We live in an evenly divided country, and it creates anxiety, but it also requires patience.
It is fairly shocking. And I don't think it's something that should make us super proud. You just think about just the last 2 weeks and the things that Donald Trump has said. If all of that gets you half of the votes,
49%.
what does it tell you? I mean, we need to really take a step back and think about what does that say about us?
I mean, blue wall, baby. There was always going to be a blue wall night. Some of the fantasies, right, of a landslide victory that would erase any doubt, that would eradicate, the threats. I think it's going to be a late night. The polls have accurately captured this dead heat.
Ari, since you were last with us, I've got nothing to report.
Well, the crowd here is still large, is still loud, but a little bit more subdued. And the word that I keep hearing is the idea that people here are nauseously optimistic, not just cautiously optimistic, but nauseously optimistic. The real focus now is on that blue wall in the Midwest. They knew that this was going to be a long night and that it was going to be a real nail biter, and it appears that that is exactly what we're looking at right now.
We've been saying for weeks, says O'Malley Dillon, quote, that this race might not be called tonight. Those of you who were around in 2020 know this well. What we do know is this race is not going to come into focus until the early morning hours.
Part of the objective of this email is to say to the people on the team, hang in there, guys. It's not over. We're still getting votes in. We still need to keep talking to people, keep people in lines, tell your grandma it's going to be okay.
We now have an NBC News call in the first one, Joy. North Carolina called for Donald Trump.
Yep. And so it was,
We now have all the vote in Luzerne County. Donald Trump is going to win this by a little bit more than 21 points. 4 years ago, it was 14. We also saw him make those gains in Lackawanna County right next door earlier tonight. Democrats wanted more of a Trump drop-off here. They don't get it in Lebanon County tonight. In 2020, Joe Biden won here by essentially 27 points. Sits at about 24.5. In Chester County, more significant drop-off for Harris from Biden. Next door in Montgomery County, Harris is now running a point behind where Joe Biden finished in this county. Biden won this by 4.5 points in 2020. Trump has now taken the lead in Bucks County.
NBC News now projects that in the battleground state of Georgia in the presidential race, Donald Trump has prevailed. The Republican Party will control the United States Senate. This is live from Howard University in Washington, D.C.
We still have votes to count. We still have states that have not been called yet. We will continue overnight to fight to make sure that every vote is counted. Thank you all.
A short and to-the-point statement from Cedric Richmond, the Harris campaign co-chair. You now see them turn as one to start to leave the grounds.
The evening was getting increasingly somber as people realized what this map is looking like. They turned off the TV set and just piped up the music because the room was starting to get increasingly somber.
You know, we always knew it was going to be down to the blue wall, and the blue wall is still uncalled at this point. But it sounds like the Harris campaign is sort of keeping things tight in terms of whether or not they're going to string people along into thinking this is going to happen.
What they went to that venue tonight hoping to see and witness was a historic election of Kamala Harris to the presidency. Was the end of the Trump era as they knew it. And so we don't know the outcome yet, but that is not what they are receiving, and they are being told to go home and wait till tomorrow.
And nothing that was true yesterday about how flawlessly this campaign was run is not true now. I mean, this really was an historic, flawlessly run campaign. Queen Latifah never endorses anyone. She came out and endorsed. You know, I mean, she had every prominent celebrity voice. She had the Swifties. She had the Beehive. Like, you could not have run a better campaign.
In Western Europe and in the UK and in the Middle East, people are waking up to this.
Oh, and they are.
I've gotten people from Western Europe who are extraordinarily alarmed and terrified.
May I reiterate, there are 2 of the 7 swing states that have been called by NBC News right now, which is Georgia and North Carolina. None of the other 5 states have been called at this point. You can see this is the battleground states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, the so-called blue wall. None of those states called by NBC News. In the swing state of Pennsylvania, NBC News now projects that presidential contest has been won by Donald Trump. It presents an insurmountable future here for Kamala Harris and for the Democratic ticket. Let's watch as Trump takes the stage in Palm Beach, Florida.
We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
Boy, it's going to be a real tough speech for her.
We want to thank America 2100, right? 2100 for that incredible compilation. Here's their account. They've done some very interesting compilations before. I found some of their content very very unique. They clearly watch this stuff. America 2100.org. Ensuring the next century is an American century. Sounds kind of awesome. Thank you for that supercut. Ladies and gentlemen, subscribe and stay based. And salty, especially if you're watching MSNBC.